I'm now joined by Neeraj Kumar, former Delhi Commissioner. So thanks a lot for your time. First up, I begin by asking you the larger question. Don't you find it problematic that on New Year's Eve, New Year's night, when there is extra police presence in the national capital, this kind of an incident has happened?
Yes, it is problematic. And in fact, I have tried to make inquiries into this matter.
Hmm.
What I have come to know is that most of the PCR vans were directed towards crowded areas.
Hmm.
And this part of Delhi, if you're familiar with it, this is, large tracts of land and roads and area which are very sparsely populated
Hmm.
and, in fact, fairly lonely. And the PCR vans were indeed not there,
Hmm.
not deployed in that area. So it is a fact that PCR vans were not there, and they ought to have been there. And they were diverted towards more crowded areas like malls and marketplaces because on New Year's Eve the crowds are there and
Hmm.
all the merrymaking and everything revelry happens there. So this is a problem. Yes.
Hmm. No, but added to fact, sir, is also the fact that there are at least two people who've come forward who have said that they tried to alert the police. One person spoke to the police multiple times, but it seems that nobody paid attention to what they were saying.
No, that is not true. Calls were received by the PCR as well as by the police stations, and there were responses to those calls. Vehicles rushed, but they could not locate it. They could not locate the body.
Hmm.
So it is not correct to say that there was no response to those calls.
Now, one of the big questions that comes to mind is that how could the accused, even if they were drunk and inebriated, how did they not realize that they were dragging something under their car, let alone a body for over 10 kilometers? What is your assessment of what has happened?
No, first of all, let us not give them the benefit of the doubt by saying that they were drunk, because if we say they were drunk,
Hmm.
they will get leniency from the courts.
Hmm.
Uh, they very much knew that there is somebody under the wheels, and it was just that they didn't bother. So to that extent, they were culpable, and they have to be charged with culpable homicide,
Hmm.
not amounting to murder or maybe even murder, because once you know that somebody is under your wheel and you don't stop, it almost amounts to murder.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be culpable homicide amounting to murder.
No, and since you mentioned that about culpable homicide, the police initially did not add that section. Do you feel that there is some credence to the allegations that the police did not act properly initially and did so only after media outrage on this case?
No, no, no. This is a misconception. The misconception is that as soon as the case is registered, all sections of law should be immediately applied, and all the accused should be named in the FIR, and everything should be in order. All details of the incident should be recorded, etc. It's never like that.
Hmm.
First information report is a first information report.
Hmm.
As soon as the first information comes, you register a case, and as the case unfolds,
Hmm.
as the investigation unfolds and proceeds, additional facts which come on record, they get added, and sections of law, names of accused, other things uh, keep on getting added to the case file, as it were.
Okay. Now, I come to the question of the friend. Now, this is the big twist that has come to light, that the girl was indeed not alone. In fact, she was accompanied on that two-wheeler by a female friend, and she was there when the accident took place. She left the spot. She has now gone on to say, as I've just played, that she knew that her friend was being dragged by the car, but she didn't call or alert anyone even after reaching home. What is the culpability of the friend here?
Well, the culpability is there for not informing the police of the occurrence of the accident and so on.
Hmm.
By the way, you are aware that the girl has been traced by the police,
Yes.
and her statement before a magistrate has already been recorded.
Hmm.
So she has said whatever she had to explain her position and why she did not do what she ought to have done.
Hmm. Let me just ask you overall, sir, in your illustrious career, is this one of the most shocking cases that you've seen transpire in the national capital? Just the sheer nature of what has happened?
There is no doubt about this fact that it is one of the most shocking incidents that have happened
Hmm.
in the recent past. And a number of things have to be looked into, including the police response to the
Yes.
various reports that came initially.
Hmm.
And to that extent, the Ministry of Home Affairs, as you are aware, is cognizant of
Mm-hmm.
the situation. They have asked the Commissioner of Police to look into the matter and submit a report. An officer of the rank of Special Commissioner of Police has been appointed to go into all the facts, give a report, which will be passed on to the Union Home Minister. So,
Hmm.
who was at fault, who did not respond as he or she should have when the information came, all that will be kind of surface once the report is submitted.
Hmm. Well, we do hope that certain action is taken. But finally, I want to ask you, as the former commissioner, what do you think are the lessons, the learnings from this case so that something like this is never repeated?
Well, the lessons and learnings, prima facie, I can say is one thing that uh, at the expense of deserted areas,
Hmm.
the deployment should not be only in crowded and marketplaces,
Hmm. Hmm.
because the deserted areas are more vulnerable than the crowded areas. Crowded areas, there are so many people who can respond to it. So, to cover crowded areas and marketplaces at the expense of the outlying areas is not the correct thing to do. And therefore, in future, the police would be well advised to cover the lonely stretches of roads and land in future. Whenever New Year's Eve or any such occasion arises. That is one big learning which comes to my mind